Okay, so we're going to play a business simulation. It's called Go Venture Entrepreneur. And Go Venture Entrepreneur has 3 levels of business. We're going to start with a lemonade stand, very basic, very simple. Then we're going to move up to a kiosk or mobile cart style business, which is more comprehensive. And then we're going to move up to a super comprehensive, super realistic small business simulation. Okay, so we're going to just walk through a bit of a tutorial here. And that's important because this tutorial and the simulation is very much like the real world of business. So let's go ahead and do this. So the first thing we're going to do is name our business. Now, in the real world, when you want to name your business, there's 2 approaches you can take. One is you can name your business similar to the product that you're trying to offer to customers, something that is memorable and aligns with what that is. An alternative is to do something that's completely different or memorable. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name my business Lemons so that it is aligned with the product that I'm selling, but it also has a bit of a uniqueness to it with the double Z's at the end. So business name is the first thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to choose a logo for my business. And I have a number of logos to choose from. I'm going to choose this one because it kind of looks like a lemon. And you want to keep your logo simple, generally only a few colors, so it's easily recognizable. Now, a name and a logo for your business are part of what's called your brand. And brand can be a complicated subject, but it's generally feeling that you want to invoke in customers. And the logo is just one element of what's called your brand identity. Your overall brand is actually comprised of a number of things like your brand experience, your brand personality, your tone of voice, your brand promise, and your brand associations. And the logo and the name are just part of the identity aspect of that. But I have some other videos on that you can take a deeper dive in. But let's keep going. And here's our virtual smartphone that shows us the day of the week. And we are starting our business with $100 in cash. And these are our sales numbers that we can track as we go along. So let's keep clicking through our tutorial here. Now, this is a very important aspect of business, and we're experiencing it right away. And this is identifying our customer profile. Now, when we have a good or service that we want to offer to customers, we really have to understand who are our customers. And the world is not our customers. We have to understand who is most interested and willing to pay or purchase our product. And also important is who we can actually reach, because we have to make people aware of our product and how to get it. So when you narrow all that down, you're going to discover that your overall market is not as big as you might originally think. And the more specific you can identify your prospective customers, the more success you will have at reaching and converting those customers. In this example, we have 3 streets in our neighborhood, Peach Street, Apple Avenue, and Orange Lane, where we can set up our lemonade stand. But each segment of the neighborhood has different consumer profiles. So I can see on Peach Street, customers have average price and quality expectations. On Apple Avenue, they're willing to pay more for high quality product. And on Orange Lane, they tend to prefer lower prices. Now, what I want to do is when I choose a location, I want to make sure that I align my product quality, my pricing to match the desires of those customers. So I'm going to start with Peach Street, which is right in the middle here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to sell lemonade to people in our kiosk. And we can build or buy a kiosk. I'm going to choose this first one here as my kiosk. And that cost us $50. So to build that kiosk or to buy it cost us $50. So if we check our cash, we started with $100 and we've already spent $50 of what's called working capital. So the money you have in your business to be able to use and apply to operating the business, that's called our working capital. So now we're down to $50 in working capital. When we're selling lemonade, we have to consider, what is lemonade made of? Well, it's made of water, lemons, sugar, and cups. And we mix it all together and we sell a cup of lemonade. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the grocery store where we can buy lemon, sugar, cups, and water. And the tutorial is telling me to buy 20 of each. And you'll notice there's a certain price for each of these. So 20 servings of water are going to cost us $6. And you can see the other costs. And in many businesses, the more quantity you buy, the lower the price. That's not always the case, but it is in this particular example here. So as we buy more, we might be able to save some money. But the tutorial is telling us to stick with these numbers for now. So that's going to cost us $17. Let's make sure we have enough money to buy that. So we do. We have $50. So let's go ahead and buy. So now our working capital is down to $33 because we purchased $17 in inventory. That's called inventory because we now have ingredients in inventory. They're not finished goods. at the moment, but we will make them into lemonade soon. So let's go ahead and continue, and we can see our inventory numbers there. Now we have to decide on our recipe, and this is sometimes called the product quality. So if you're manufacturing some physical good, it might have different levels of quality based on the parts that you decide to use to assemble your product. In this case, our parts are actually ingredients, food ingredients. And so we can set our recipe either sour and watery or use the slider to go to sweet and lemony. Now, I know customers are going to want sweet and lemony better. They're going to consider that a higher quality product versus sour and watery. But notice here, the numbers that appear next to our ingredients actually change. And that's because it takes more servings of lemons and sugar to make sweet and lemony lemonade versus sour and watery, which only takes 1 serving of lemons, 1 serving of sugar. So let's check out sweet and lemony. That takes 4 and 4. So it actually takes 4 times as much servings of lemons and sugar. So that means our costs to make the lemonade, which in business is called cost of goods. If this was a service, it would be called cost of services, or in some cases, it might be just called cost of sales. But here's cost of goods, and I can see that the cost to make 1 cup of lemonade that is sweet and lemony is $1.90. Sour and watery only costs 85 cents. But here's the challenge. In business, there's always compromise. The compromise here is I can choose sour and watery to have a lower cost of goods, but my customers may not be as happy. They may not return. They may not be willing to pay a higher price for a lower quality experience. Now the tutorial is telling me to choose the option right here where it costs $1.20. So that's what we're going to start with. So keep that in mind. It costs us $1.20 to make 1 cup of lemonade. So when we sell this cup, we got to make sure it's going to be a little bit more than that. Let's move on. Now we have to set our price. So we know it costs us $1.20 to make a cup of lemonade. Our tutorial is telling us to set our price at $2. So let's go ahead and do that. Set it to $2. So at $2, that allows us to make 80 cents in gross profit. So we're selling at $2, but it costs us $1.20 to make it. 80 cents, that's the difference between our price and the cost to make and deliver the product to the customer. Now, as we play, we'll be able to experiment and adjust these numbers, but for now, let's stick with what we have. All right, so now we're ready to open for business. And we're going to click the Open for Business button now. All right, here we go. Here come our customers. Now, I actually have to click this plus button to mix the lemonade before they get to my kiosk, my lemonade stand. And here we go. We're actually selling lemonade. And you see these little icons floating above our lemonade stand. That is our customer feedback. So they're giving us real-time feedback as to how they feel about our lemonade. Now, look at this. We've run out of inventory. And let's check out our inventory. We have 0 lemons, 0 sugar. We have cups and we have water, but we can't make lemonade without lemons and sugar. So we have run out of ingredients, run out of inventory. And you can see a lot of customers are showing these little red icons, which means that they've ordered a product that we could not deliver. That's a very important lesson already in business, is we have to forecast potential sales and try to make sure we have enough product and inventory to deliver to those customers. If not, this is what happens. So our results for the end of the day, we've served 10 customers. So we served 10 products or 10 cups of lemonade, but we lost 14 customers because they came to our lemonade stand and we could not deliver lemonade to them. Our sales revenue, so if we took all the money that customers gave us, in this case, it was $2 per cup of lemonade. So $2 times 10 is $20 in sales revenue. Revenue is the money that your business earns from customers. And so our sales revenue was $20. And cost of goods, remember, it was $1.20 for each cup of lemonade. We multiply that by 10 because we sold 10 cups of lemonade. Our cost of goods sold was $12. And look at that term sold. So before we were talking cost of goods to make the lemonade. Cost of goods sold is specifically for the lemonade that we sold. We could have made lemonade on the side that perhaps we did not sell. That would not be included in our cost of goods sold. So this is just a comparison of the money customers gave us and the product, the cost of the product we gave to customers. And the difference between these two numbers, $20 minus $12, is our gross profit. That's our $8 in gross profit. And our gross profit margin is 40%. That 40% is calculated by taking the $8 of our gross profit and dividing it by 20 of our sales revenue, and that's our gross profit margin. Now in business, this is an important number because it tells you how profitable you are. Because, for example, if your cost of goods goes up, then your gross profit margin goes down. And the reason that's important is because there are other expenses in operating a business that are not reflected in this simple lemonade stand. We'll see it in the next level businesses. But there are other expenses like our time, for example, our wages as owners of the business, or if we have to hire employees, or if we have other marketing expenses, they're not reflected in these numbers. So we have to make sure that our gross profit and our gross profit margin is high enough to cover all those other expenses. And we'll see that in the next level businesses. Now, we'll also notice here that we have some damaged or spoiled goods. So what this is trying to teach us is that if we order too much inventory, like let's say, okay, we ran out of inventory here. Let's make sure that does not happen again. So let's buy as much inventory as possible so it never happens again. Well, you can't necessarily do that in the real world of business for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is it uses up your working capital, your cash. So if you're tying up your cash in inventory, you may not have cash to pay your other bills. So you can't just go and buy a whole bunch of inventory with the hopes that it might sell someday into the future. The better approach is to forecast how much you might sell in the short term and buy exactly that amount. And that's a difficult thing to do, but that's one of the challenges of business. Because in the case of this business, which is a food business, because we've ordered too much, we've actually had some of it spoil or damage. And this is what makes a food business really challenging, is that the ingredients actually spoil if they're unused within a certain period of time. So again, that's another reason why you cannot just buy a whole bunch of inventory. But even if you were running a business that had what's called a durable consumer goods business, or a product that doesn't necessarily spoil or expire very quickly, you still don't want to necessarily tie up your cash in buying a whole bunch of extra inventory. And you also have to store that inventory as well, and you risk, again, getting it damaged or other things could happen to it. So again, this is one of the key challenges of running a business. All right, so we've played one full day of our lemonade stand business. Now let's go to the grocery store and buy some extra, much more than we bought last time, just to make sure I don't run out this time. So I bought 75 of each. It's going to cost $51. Okay, so I've got $53 in cash, so just enough money to buy all this. So I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Hey, and check out too the weather. The weather influences customer purchases in this type of business. Weather doesn't necessarily impact all businesses, but in this business, because it's outdoors and it's a cold drink, a warm, hot day is probably going to be much better for us than a cold and stormy day. And I can see the forecast suggests that it's going to be hot and sunny, which is a perfect day for selling lemonade. Let's go back to our recipe. And I can see now that if I adjust my recipe to a little bit better quality, it's going to increase my cost of goods a little bit. So now we're at $1.25. Now this number looks a little low compared to our earlier cost of goods number. And the reason is because we bought more inventory and got a lower price because we're buying more volume or more quantity of those ingredients. So we got a better price break, and that's lowered our cost of goods, which is really good, which means we may not have to increase our price, and that way we can offer a higher quality product at the same price. So let's go ahead and set that. So we've got our new recipe. We've got lots of inventory. I'm going to leave the price as it is, and let's go ahead and open for business. All right, here we go. I'm going to mix quickly as possible. Mixing lemonade, make sure I don't miss any customers. They're buying from us now. There we are. Come on, customers. Lower that volume a little bit. So look, we're selling customers. They're very happy. Look at those smiling emojis. I am missing some customers. I'm not mixing fast enough for some of them, so I am missing out on some customers. We're going to try to do this a little bit faster. So here we go. I've got a whole bunch of cups ready to go. I don't want to mix too many ahead of time in case I run out of customers. And it looks like maybe nearing the end of the day. And here it is. All right, so we've served 22 customers today. We only lost 5, and we lost 5 because my service was a bit slow. We sold 22 cups. Our sales revenue, our $2 per cup times 22 is 44. in sales revenue. Remember that sales revenue is the money customers give us. Our cost of goods sold. So the total cost of producing the 22 cups of lemonade that we sold to customers was $28.10. When we subtract those two numbers, we get our gross profit of $15.90 and our gross profit margin of 36%. So last time it was 40%. So our margin went down a little bit, and that's because our cost of goods was a little bit more expensive. I think it was about 5 cents more expensive than last time. So our gross profit margin was a little bit lower. Now, if we raised our prices, we could get that gross profit margin up higher, but then we risk maybe fewer customers buying or not. There's no real way to know unless we experiment, and that's the power of a simulation like this. It allows us to experiment. Now, let's check out our damaged or spoiled items. We only had a little bit of spoilage with our food products. Lots of cups and lots of water spoiled because we had a lot of extras. I can see that we had a lot of extra cups and water, so that's why we got a little bit extra damage there. But that was a pretty good day. And let's check out our cash. We're now at $46, so our cash is now increasing again, which is good. And we can see our net profit for the 2 days was $14.04. And that's essentially the money that's left over for us because we're the only one running this business. We have no employees. We have no other expenses in this simple business. So our earnings, we can take home $14. Now, keep in mind, we started with $100. We started with $100 and we only have 46. So technically, we have not made money yet. We're still negative. But if we keep running our lemonade stand for a certain number of days and we keep having success, we'll eventually make more money than we invested in starting the business, and that will ultimately be our profit. So that's a simple lemonade stand. We just wanted to review the fundamentals of business before we move on to the next level of business, which is what we're going to do now.